This is the Microsoft Word setup for preparing cover letters and resume, brought to you by the Goodwill Career Pathways Institute. When it comes to Microsoft Word, first we have to understand what Word is, which Microsoft Word is a computer software program that is downloaded onto a machine. You do have to have a software key in order to download it to your machine. It doesn't automatically come loaded or preloaded onto a brand new computer. Most people will have to purchase that as a secondary item. If you are watching this as part of a tutorial inside of a resource center like at our Job Connection Center or a library, then chances are you probably already have it available to you. We're also going to talk about how to use the functions of the program to prepare documents. In addition, we're going to need to be able to save those documents and be able to retrieve them so that you know how to access those documents after you've completed something in the future. Microsoft Word is located in your Start menu on the bottom left-hand corner of your machine. You'll have to access the window that will take you right to your Start menu, and it's alphabetical. Once you go there, you're going to look for W for Word. So it's not going to be listed under Microsoft. It's going to be listed under W for Word. Once you're there, you can double-click on the Word icon. Then you'll be able to start by clicking on Blank Document. Now here's where things get a little bit more complicated. We're talking about something called the ribbon. It used to be called a toolbar. So if that sounds more familiar to you, that's why. So here, if you look at the top of your Microsoft Word document, there's something called a quick access toolbar, and that's actually in that blue, deep blue line at the very top of your Microsoft Word document. The ribbon is located at the top of the Word document, and it basically has all of the style features that are required for making changes to your document. It includes things called tabs. Tabs are things like your file, home, insert, design, layout, references, mailings, review, etc. We are not going to talk about every single tab as part of this tutorial. This is an introduction to help get you more acquainted with Microsoft Word. It is not an exhaustive training. The ribbon is used to help make some changes for the appearance of your document. And then every document will need to have some style changes made to it in order for it to be appropriate for the style type that you're looking for. So for instance, if you were making a resume or a cover letter, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways in which to make some of those changes here today. The first, and I would argue the most important tab, is your Home tab. So your Home tab houses so many of your style fonts and style choices, really. If you look at the top of your document, so if you don't have a Microsoft Word document opened up right now, it's probably a good idea to open one throughout this tutorial so you have something to look at. But if you're looking here at this document, don't have one open, or maybe you don't own Microsoft yet, let's take a look at that Home tab. Do you see right now where it says Calibri Body? Well, Calibri Body is a font. A font is the way in which your letters look. So right now, if you were to look at how my PowerPoint presentation, the way that the words look, like the word font even, that is Times New Roman font. So it's a different style of font than Calibri Body. So you can make changes to your font for the appropriateness of your document. Now, in professional writing, there are some approved font styles. So if you were to click the arrow, so that's that little tiny thing next to where it says Calibri Body, that's where you'll have access to a variety of fonts, and those are also alphabetical. The appropriate professional font types that are accepted across multiple publications include the following: Arial, Calibri Body, Times New Roman, and Courier New. So those are the four main font types that you can write things in that fall in line with professional writing. So next to where it says Calibri Body, you'll see where it has the number 11. So 11 actually counts for your font size. So font size is how big the letters on your page actually are. The standard font size is not actually 11. For readability purposes, you may want to adjust that to 12. And if you need to keep it at 11 because you've got lots to say, then you may want to do so. I wouldn't go anything smaller than an 11 whenever it comes to creating the documents that we're talking about today, simply because you want to make sure that your document is readable and not too busy. Underneath where it has Calibri Body and the number 11, you'll see a B, an I, and a U. Those are all buttons that will do different things to your words. You do have to highlight them with your mouse. To highlight, what you would do is you take your mouse, left side, you click and drag with the left side of your mouse, and then it will have like a gray color over the top of it. Once it's highlighted, you're able to make those style choices. So you could click the B. B is for bold. You would be able to change the words or the lettering from any document or from any of the words that you're working on and change those to any bold letters. So for instance, if you wanted to say this task is due on Friday, the word Friday might be bolded within your document. Then you have the I for italic. Italics are usually only used whenever you're trying to have a highlighting of some type of proper name or like a book title or something like that. We're not using italics a lot these days. And then underline, you'd use underline, and these are all buttons, mind you. The U for underline is something that you would use very similarly to the B for bold. Then, if we're going to go to the right of your ribbon, what you'll also see are some additional things you can do to your font. The one I would like to show you has the A with the red line under it. If you just click the A, it's going to automatically make your text red. If you click the arrow next to it, then you can change your font color to any of those in the palette that it displays. So it gives you that option. All right, now we're going to move over to the right to the paragraph section. So in the paragraph section, you have what I like to just say is 3 dots stacked on top of each other. Those are called bullets. The one next to it are 3 numbers stacked on top of each other, and that is called a numbered list. So if you are looking at either of those, then what that means is that you are able to take a section of information. So like, let's say you had a grocery list you wanted to have. So you have peas, carrots, bacon, sausage, and you had that whole list. What you would then do is take your mouse, highlight the list, and then you could click on that button with the 1, 2, 3, and then it's going to number that section of information for you. Underneath that, you've got your left align, your center align, right align, and total block centering. And so what that section does is it actually allows you to select an area of text on your document to center it for you. And this is particularly important whenever it comes to headings on your document. We've moved on to the Layout tab. The Layout tab gives you an option to set up your portrait orientation. So you can choose Portrait or Landscape. Portrait is whenever your document is up and down vertical. Landscape is side to side. So you might use a landscape design if you're creating something like a calendar. Portrait would be your standard layout for things like your resume and your cover letter. You can actually see the orientation tab or section button that's at the top of your ribbon section. You can also reset your margins. So sometimes you have to realign your margins to reflect the size of the document that you're using. Let's say you don't have a lot of information, so you may want to make your margins a little bit more wide on the sides. Or let's say you have so much information that you're bleeding onto page 2, and we know that resumes really need to be just a single pager. So you might make that a more narrow margin. If you select that down arrow on your margin section, then it will give you those options to make those adjustments. The Review tab seems to be everyone's favorite tab because it has your spell check in it. It may say ABC check or it could say spell check. It depends on what version of Microsoft Word that you're using. So if you click on the spell check, it's going to give you that automatic spell check throughout your entire document. There will be a new window that will open up on the right-hand side that will pull up different words that you may want to change the spelling of your word for. For instance, if you have the wrong version of there, T-H-E-R-E, and it should be T-H-E-I-R, then it may let you make that decision to make that adjustment there. See what I did there? So as part of that, what you can do is make that adjustment based on that section. It's also going to check for spelling and grammar. So it will take a look and see if you're using too many words as part of your document, and if so, it may suggest that you use a more simplified version of that word choice. You can click on the selected change that you want to make, and then it will make that adjustment for you. The other thing here that might be really helpful is the word count section. It's a button that you can click and it will show you how many words your document is. This is particularly helpful if you're writing in a Microsoft Word document and perhaps you have to submit a certain number of words to a potential employer, and they may say, well, write me 45 words on who you think you are. So you may want to write that down on a Word document, do a word count so you're not manually 1, 2, 3, 4. And that will help to cut your time in half. Setting up your document for a resume can be tricky, but if you know the style guidelines for how to do that, then it can be more simple. On the okgoodwill.org website, we do have some templates that are available for you, which are already preset so that you're not having to make these style changes. But if you're starting from scratch from a computer that may or may not have internet access, this is a great way for you to be able to go ahead and start setting that up. So first things first, center your contact information at the top using the alignment section of Microsoft Word. Increase the name of your name 2 font sizes from the rest of your document. Then center your headings. Headings are things like your skills, your background, which includes your work history, and your education. Then left align the information that you're going to include below that. That would include things like company names, duties, etc. Then press enter 2 times in between sections. So like after your name at gmail.com, notice I've pressed enter 2 times before I've gone to my heading. Same thing can be said after I'll finish entering a minimum of 8 skills. Then what I'm going to do is for those headings, I'm going to either select to bold them and underline or just underline. It depends on how you want your resume to appear. Setting up a document for a cover letter is a little different than setting it up for a resume. You're going to begin with a left align. So what you should already know, there's a cheat here. Your document is already set up to be left aligned. So what you'll want to do is make sure all the information that you had on your previous document is also on your cover letter. Your name, address, telephone number, and email should be at the top left-hand corner of your cover letter. Then press enter twice. Put in your greeting, so dear Mr. Mitchell, dear hiring manager, etc., comma, 2 enters again, and then begin your body of your cover letter. Make sure that your fonts match on both your resume and cover letter for consistency. So now that you've finished your document, what do? It's time to save it so you have an opportunity to upload it to things like email or to job posting sites. So what you'll do is you'll actually go to what's called the File tab. Once you're there, it's going to give you 2 options. Your first inclination may be to go ahead and press Save. That's not the right one. If you just press Save, it's going to save your document with whatever title it has pre-selected for you. So it could be Document 1, and you don't want that. Same thing. It's going to also save it to wherever it wants to save it. So it could go to your desktop, it could go to documents, it could go to a lot of other places. So the best thing to do is to go ahead and press Save As. Then it's going to take you down what's called a file path. It'll allow you, once you press Save As, to choose the name and location of the saved file. So once you do that, Save As, this PC, underneath the section where you'll be able to retitle the name of your document, it's going to have teeny tiny words that say More Options. Then select Desktop on the left-hand side. You'll see that because there'll be folder options as well, because there'll be a new window that opens. You can change the name of your file either before you get to this point or at this point. And then once you do that, on the bottom right-hand corner of that opened window, you can press Save. Then once it's saved, you can go to your desktop and then move it to a folder if you've saved a folder to your desktop. After you've saved your document, what do? You can double-click on your document itself or the folder in which you saved it and retrieve the document. That will allow you to be able to access the document and make changes if you need to. You can just double-click and voila! You can also upload it to things like email, and there'll be some more information about that in some future training. Thank you. You have now completed the Microsoft Word walkthrough.